Ah, that dreaded orange glow on your dashboard. The check engine light. It can be super stressful, right? Especially when you get a cryptic code like U1000. But hey, don't worry. We're going to break down exactly what this code means for your Nissan and, more importantly, what you can actually do about it. So let's just dive right in. To really get a handle on the U1000 code, you gotta ask yourself this one question. Because honestly, that's pretty much what's happening. Your car isn't just metal and rubber anymore. It's a whole network of computers that are constantly chattering away. The U1000 code is basically a distress signal that somebody, somewhere, has just gone silent. And this whole conversation happens on something called the CAN, or Controller Area Network. The easiest way to think about it, it's like a nonstop conference call between all the most important parts of your car. You've got the engine computer on the line, the transmission computer, the brakes, they're all sharing data in real time. A U1000 code means one of them just dropped off the call, and now the whole system is totally confused. So what's the official word? When a mechanic plugs in a professional scanner, the U1000 code pops up as a CAN communication line signal malfunction. It's just a fancy way of saying it's a network error. There's a problem somewhere on that digital highway that runs through your vehicle. Now, a computer network error sounds kind of abstract, doesn't it? But trust me, you are absolutely going to feel it when you're driving. Let's talk about the real-world symptoms this little communication breakdown can cause. Well, the most obvious one, of course, is that check engine light. But it can get a lot more serious than that. Your car might throw itself into limp mode, where it cuts way back on power just to protect itself. You could even find yourself in a no-start situation where the car just won't turn over. And because the engine and transmission computers aren't on speaking terms, you might get some really rough shifting or see your speedometer needle just bouncing all over the place. It can even get weird and affect things like your power windows or locks if the body control module is the one that's decided to take a break. Okay, so we know what's happening and what it feels like. The next logical question is, why? Let's play detective and start digging into the most common culprits behind this code. Now, here's the really interesting part. While a network communication failure sounds incredibly complex, maybe even incredibly expensive, the number one cause, well, it's often stunningly simple, and it's probably something you can check yourself. And there it is. More often than not, the whole problem comes down to a bad ground connection. We're talking about a simple wire that just bolts to the car's frame to complete an electrical circuit for a computer. If that little connection gets loose or dirty or rusty, the computer can't ground itself, and poof, it drops off the network. It's crazy to think that a tiny bit of corrosion can bring the whole high-tech system to a grinding halt. Of course, it's not always the ground wire. There are a few other usual suspects. A weak or dying battery can cause all sorts of electrical gremlins because the computers aren't getting stable voltage. You could also have physically damaged wiring from moisture or even rodents chewing on things. A simple blown fuse can knock a module offline, and yeah, sometimes the computer itself just fails. It's also worth pointing out that a badly installed aftermarket alarm or stereo can mess with the CAN network and trigger this code too. So knowing the potential causes is one thing, but what can you actually do about it? Let's walk through a quick diagnostic checklist, stuff you can safely inspect yourself before you even think about calling a mechanic. All right, always start with the absolute basics. First, check your battery. Is it fully charged? Are the terminals clean and clamped on tight? A weak battery is a huge offender here. Next, find the main ground wires on the engine and the chassis, give them a wiggle. Are they secure? Are they clean? Then grab your owner's manual and find the fuses for the engine control module, transmission module, and anything else related. Pull them out and see if they're blown. And finally, just do a good visual inspection under the hood. Look for any frayed wires, any green crusty corrosion on connectors, or any signs that maybe a drink got spilled near one of the computers. And this really shows you where the line is. On one side, you've got all the stuff we can do in our own driveways. Looking, checking, cleaning. But on the other side, that's where the pros take over. They have specialized tools that can do things like a module roll call to see who's not answering, or even measure the electrical resistance of the entire network. So if you've gone through your own inspection and you haven't found anything obvious, then it's probably time to call in a professional. Let's take a look at how they take this diagnosis to the next level. A good technician isn't just going to guess. They'll hook up an advanced scan tool that can talk to every single module in the car and do that roll call we mentioned. That tells them exactly which computer is offline. They'll also check for any technical service bulletins or TSBs from Nissan, because there might be a known issue with a specific fix. And then they'll start doing the electrical tests. One of the key electrical tests is measuring the CAN bus resistance. With the battery disconnected, a tech can use a multimeter on the diagnostic port, and a healthy network should give a reading of almost exactly 60 ohms. If that number is way off, say it's 120 ohms, that points to a break in the circuit. If it's close to zero, it means there's a short somewhere. Either way, it's a huge clue that helps them hunt down the problem. So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? While the U1000 code sounds really intimidating, it drives home one of the most important lessons in auto repair. Always check the simple stuff first. Before you assume some expensive computer has fried itself, check the battery, check the fuses, and definitely check those ground wires. Because you have to ask yourself, could cleaning one little wire really save you from a $500 repair bill? You'd be amazed how often the answer is yes.